Hey babes, welcome back. My name is Nadia Sayapin. I am the author of The Rebels. You're not seeing the cover right now because I'm actually on the chapter I need to start with. And I am not going to go all the way up to that and then all the way back down again. Nope. I am reading chapter 34 of my dystopian fiction, The Rebels. Now, please note, if you are brand spanking new, thank you so much for being here. I'm really happy to see you here. The internet's a pretty big place, so I'm really happy you found me. However, this is chapter 34. You can take a look at the top of the screen. You'll see there's 426 pages out of 592. So you're more than welcome to listen to this in the middle. I just want you to be aware that you might be missing some backstory, and there is 33 more chapters to go through. I also do this completely unedited because I read this for a friend of mine who enjoys hearing stories but needs audio. So, again, thank you for being here, and let's get into it. I abandoned the group and jogged ahead. We'd sent Doc, Ink, Bear, and a small guard back to the lair ahead of us and had taken some detours again, arriving a week after they should have gotten back. And now I worried. We should have seen patrols by now. Where are they? Phoenix spoke a few feet behind me on the trail. I hadn't asked her to come, but I'd begun to expect her presence. Damn. Captain! The high voice barely preceded Mouse tumbling out of a tree. You're back! Where is everyone? Trouble at the lair. Sarge had a bunch of us positioned all around because we didn't know where you'd be coming from. Amana's in trouble. They're trying to hurt her and we can't make them stop. Tears stood out in the girl's eyes, skinny frame trembling. Slow down and breathe, I commanded, setting a pace slow enough that she could just keep up. Details. Mouse took a deep breath, then another. Okay, some boys tried to hurt Amana, but she hurt them instead. Killed one. Holy shit, Phoenix murmured. Windrunner killed herself. I sucked in a breath, heard a low cry from Phoenix. Now all the civilian types say Amana's guilty of murder, and they want to hang her. Driver, Dry Eyes, Sarge, Lavender, and Doc, that couple that was with you. They're all trying to stop it, but there's too many of them. So Sarge says we gotta go watch for you. I think he's trying to keep us out of the way. Mouse finished sullenly. I think it's gonna be a riot soon. Right. I had to take a few breaths myself. Good job. Tell Eleanor and the others what's happening. Then go around the line and tell them we're back. But you guys are our perimeter now. Steve may come looking and we need you to watch for him. But I want to see! No! I shouted, breaking into a run. I need a perimeter watch and you're the commander! See to it! Kid's just about floating, Phoenix commented. You making her a commander? She's got a good head on her shoulders. If adults reported as quickly and concisely as her, we'd get a shit done a lot faster. Neither of us mentioned Windrunner. She'd been one of the 12 girls found in Steve's recreation town the other month. Quiet, hurting, but working on herself. Ahead, the susurration grew into the roar of a mob. I ran faster, bursting into the small meadow to find utter chaos. Bodies filled the meadow from one side to the other, an angry, shouting mess. Barely visible over their heads, I saw Amana attached to a tree, rope around her neck. In a tiny semicircle in front of her stood Lavender, Driver, Dry Eyes, Sarge, Doc, and every other person who'd decided to fight. I'd thought our numbers were pretty good, but compared to the crowd of civilians between us and them... I plunged into the mob, throwing elbows and knees, breaking a trail for us while Phoenix kept them off my back. Open mouths and wild eyes filled my view, feral, snarling faces that dropped back when I shoved past. As we neared the edge, I heard a pompous voice rising with anger. Step back! Free our children! That little bitch hurt my son and killed one of his friends! We will have justice! Whoops! I snarled as my elbow clipped his head. Coming through! In the tiny clearing, I noticed Anansi behind Amana, frantically working on the manacles that'd been put on her. Where the fuck did they get manacles? A long cut showed, starting on his jaw, running up the right side of his face, and disappearing into his curly hair. What the fuck is going on? I demanded. Phoenix pushed past me, heading straight for Amana. We want justice! A woman screamed, red-faced and red-eyed. That whore killed our son! Hang her! Hang her! her! Hang her! Hang her!" the crowd chanted. "Did they get into the armory?" I muttered to Sarge. "No," he whispered. "I managed to lose the key. For now." I tried to speak, but the noise levels kept rising in pitch. They were wild, frenzied. Impatiently, I yanked a handgun out and fired it into the air, then lowered it to point directly at the pompous ass in front of me. Silence spread. "Right," I said into the growing quiet. "This ain't how I want to run things, but seeing as how you're all behaving like assholes, I'll treat you like ones, yeah? We want—" a man began. "Shut the fuck up!" I snarled. "I've had it up to here," I held a hand above my head, "with the demands people have been making. Now to find out that women here were raped and harassed, you can keep your damn mouth shut. You say you want justice? Fine. We'll have justice. The same justice we've already shown to rapists." "Capitan." A gentle hand rested on my shoulder. "I can speak." A stirring on the far side of the clearing got my attention, and I saw Eleanor, Storm, Seahorse, and the rest of the fighters. I bared my teeth at the mob. "First witness against the boys. Amana Ser has the floor. Anybody who don't like it or tries to talk over her is going to get their ass kicked. If you look behind you, you'll see the rest of the fighters. They're acting as peacekeepers. Talk in peace, stay in one piece. Got it?" The fighters spread out, staying in pairs, looking like they'd love an excuse to fight. Heads swiveled back and forth, unsure where to go. The cowards who liked to live at the back of mobs, keeping them alive, now had nowhere to hide. Once the rumbling settled, Amana spoke. She kept it clear and concise, and I realized she'd been messing with us all these months, for she spoke without a trace of an accent or a word of Spanish. "Those boys have been harassing girls on the quiet for weeks," she began. "Lies!" a woman at the front cried. I held up my handgun, barrel straight up, and tick-tocked it, shaking my head no. The woman subsided. "At this moment, I know of 2 girls who have been raped," Amana continued. "Fucking cunts asked for it!" a man at the back shouted. Seahorse slugged him neatly. "What did I just say about interruptions?" I eyed the crowd. "Let the woman speak. Don't make me regret pulling your sorry asses out of Salem any more than I already do." "Arkansas was the first," Amana spoke quickly. "She told me she'd been afraid to speak. She thought it was normal. With Windrunner, they got rougher. Hurt her. Windrunner even went to a parent." Amana pointed to the mother of the slain boy. "She got laughed away for her troubles." "How do you know?" I asked. "She left a note." Amana gestured to Sarge, who produced a folded letter from his breast pocket. "She killed herself just 3 days ago. We haven't even had time to bury her. Then they came for me." Amana faced the crowd, jaw tight. "Those pendejos thought that a girl who doesn't fight can't fight. They'd gotten used to hurting girls who were barely healed. If I could, I'd have killed them all." "Fuck yeah! You tell 'em, Amana!" I smiled, seeing the uneasy glances from the crowd as it subsided, confusion and insecurity spreading. The parentals at the front stirred uneasily as the crowd slid back, leaving them in a tiny clearing all their own. "For fairness' sake, let's bring out the boys." I spoke over the crowd's mutterings. Nobody got out of control. I figured they didn't much fancy a hard nap and a headache later. "Where do you have them?" "Evenstar and Thrain have them out in the woods," Sarge rumbled. "This lot," he gestured scornfully to the mob, "kept trying to free them." One of the fighters detached from our group and disappeared into the trees. "Morons!" Phoenix spat contemptuously. An older man in the front, fairly fit and reeking of privilege, straightened himself. "I," he announced, "am a judge, and the only one here—" "Your son is one of the rapists," Amana spat. Unused to being interrupted, the man reddened. "I am the only one here with the knowledge of the law, and we'll give you the death sentence, you wet-backed cunt!" I hit him like a freight train, slamming him down and pressing the pistol against his mouth before the crowd's collective gasp had time to finish. Phoenix stood straight next to me, gun drawn, keeping the rest of the crowd away. But the man had crossed a line, and the gap between him and them widened. "I'd like it very much if you repeated that," I said pleasantly. "You have repeatedly called one I trust a liar. Now you resort to slurs? That's not nice." The man lay there, pasty white, a dark stain spreading on his pants as I smiled into his eyes, pistol still pressed firmly to his mouth. No, you don't want to repeat that? Then perhaps you'd better apologize. He nodded and I moved the barrel enough for him to speak. Sorry, he mumbled, snuffling and snorting around the broken nose I'd inadvertently given him. Snurry. I accept your apology, but I do not forget. Amana stared down at him, pitying. Let him up, Capitan. It is time to hear from the rapists. I stood, shoving back from him. As soon as there was distance between us, he glared hatred at me. He hated us all, but me the most. I could see it in his eyes. I'd humiliated him, and he'd never forgive me. I could live with that. Phoenix stayed toward the front, taking the first line of defense as the 2 remaining boys were brought forward. Late high school, I guessed, of a similar age to most of the fighters. I vaguely recalled seeing a few other boys around their age around, but it seemed only 3 had been involved. Got anything to say? I asked them. Seeing Kestrel enter the clearing after them, I waved her forward. Why should we? One of the boys said, looking around. They're sluts! We all know it! They were fucking the enemy! Phoenix and a few of the women around him started forward, but I waved them back. At the rate this kid was going, we wouldn't have to do a damn thing to convince the rest of the mob he was guilty. One of the younger girls wouldn't stop until Driver and Lavender stopped her. They were probably happy to have an honest white guy between their legs, the boy continued, oblivious. Except for her. He waved to Amana contemptuously. But what does she know? She probably can't even read. Stupid bitch. Your son, is he? I asked the man with the hate-filled eyes. You must be so proud. Hey! A woman in the crowd yelled. Don't you be calling Amana that! She's the one who helped find clothes for us. She brought my daughter soup last week when she was sick, a man called out. Praise for Amana now rained out from the crowd, while the parents at the front looked around like animals caught in a trap. That was fast? Amana looked taken aback. They were just calling for my death. The crowd that cheers your coronation is the same crowd that will laugh at your beheading, I murmured. Or something like that. You come up with that? Driver appeared next to me. No, she reads, Anansi said dryly. A lot. That's my line, kid. I ruffled his hair. How's your face? Hurts, he admitted. What now? Looking over the crowd, it appeared the boy had hit the nail on the head. What now? Punishment, I decided. Kestrel, is there any hope of, I don't know, rehabilitation? It would take years of therapy, and even then, Kestrel shook her head. Neither boy has shown any signs of guilt, and they actually laughed about Windrunner's death. Called her weak. Angry murmurs from the women around us. Captain! One of the younger women, a light blonde called the Celt, stepped forward. You mentioned justice, the same as we gave out at the center. I remembered now that she was one of the 12. We call for that justice! 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 It became a chant amongst the fighters. Finally, the 2 boys began to look worried, realized their parents weren't stepping forward as expected. What does this justice entail? A woman asked shrilly. Castration and exile, I said, which is the same punishment given to the last lot of rapists we dealt with. You can't do this! The same woman shrieked, pushing forward. You have no right! You're not a judge! You're no... Right now, I pitched my voice louder, this is not a democracy. It's a benevolent dictatorship. The boys confessed. It's either this or execution. We have no use for prisoners and no way to keep them. We can send you along with your boys. How will we survive? You can't do this to us. We will, of course, provide you with some food, enough for a couple weeks, which should get you to the Idaho border, I announced. But neither these boys nor their enabling parents are welcome here. You're too dangerous. We promised these women safety, and you have broken that promise. We aim to make sure their safety here is never challenged again. And there you go, Phoenix spoke to the deathly silent crowd. Justice. Thank you so much for joining me. This one, I had a few more names in here than I thought I did. So, If you're still sticking around, I really appreciate it. Please hit the like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow. It helps more people meet my books. Um, and if you want to see what else I've got in the other formats, I'll drop a link to my website. There are previews available there if you want to check it out. So thanks for joining me, and I will see you next week.